Hello and welcome to another Board Crazy review. I am D. Today we are reviewing Of Knights and Ninjas, and I am joined by...
I'm Graham.
Don't look at me. You're always first. And I'm Will. Hello, everyone.
I don't know. You change things up.
That's true. I really do.
Maybe you're feeling aggressive.
I'm Will.
Yeah. I say this is a review. It is a review, but it's not a proper review, I guess. Not a finished review, because this is not a finished product.
No.
This is a prototype, which is coming to Kickstarter on the 11th of this month, so very soon, like a week.
So it's almost finished.
Yeah.
This is pretty close to its final form.
Yeah, so we're not going to score it in the end, but we are going to give our thoughts on what we experienced so far, which is actually quite a bit. We've played this probably more than most games we played on the channel.
Yeah.
For one reason or another.
Yeah.
So before we get started talking about it, though, we're going to run my introduction to it from our gameplay video, which came out last Friday. You can check that out if you haven't yet. But here that goes. Of Knights and Ninjas is a game for 2 to 6 players, designed by Josh McBride and published by Blue Fox Games. In this competitive card game, players are attempting to steal gems from their opponent's kingdoms while protecting their own. Each player starts the game with 5 gems of one color and 2 cards from the deck. On a player's turn, they draw 2 cards from the deck and then may either take one action or discard 1 card. There are 3 possible actions a player could take. One option is to attack an opposing kingdom. Players may play 1 card at a time from their hand during an attack, although attacks can be cancelled out by responses from an opponent. Attacks end once the attacker has stolen at least 1 gem from their opponent, or they choose not to play any more cards. Alternatively, players may choose to fortify. Players may have 1 castle and or 1 archer in play in front of them at a time, fortifying their kingdom. These cards prevent attacks by certain other cards and stay in play until they're destroyed. Lastly, a player may play a special action card, which typically allows them to steal cards from another player. Play continues in clockwise order until one player has collected 10 gems in total, at which point they are declared the winner. Okay, so, Of Knights and Ninjas. A card game.
A card game.
Yeah.
I knew you were
A
gonna say that.
competitive card game. We've played a few of these on this channel so far, so we've got some,
Right.
and like origin. I don't know how to say words, Graham. Just give me my words.
It's okay. It's only a review. We don't need to be good, very articulate.
What are
Or,
words?
yeah.
We have points of reference for this style of game.
Yeah.
It's fair to say. So I think to start, this game I think is very well balanced. I would say, considering the number of different cards in play here, and just the number of total cards in play here, I think they did really well to make sure that, I say they, I mean he,
The designer, yeah.
did really well to make sure that you get a pretty good experience most of the time.
Yeah.
It would take kind of, rare, freak draws to have somebody draw, a disproportionate amount of all the good, or the most powerful cards.
Yeah.
There usually is, I agree with you, a distribution of, the weakest to powerful cards throughout all the hands. So it does create, you're right, a very nice balance.
And the cards are also, every card seems to have another card that balances it out, which is nice. They did a good job with, nothing feels too overpowered in that sense as well. There's
Even the Jester, which is the most powerful
Powerful
card.
card.
If you have the right other one in your hand, you can.
Jester's
counter.
only exactly. It's only as useful as the situation that shows up.
Yeah.
It's all the designs and mechanics used were very intentional. It doesn't feel like there's anything in there that was just because, why not? It's there's a lot of care and thought put into it. Right.
Yeah, so each and every card works, but doesn't work too well, or some of them are very situational.
Yeah, exactly.
They all have their time.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that rock paper scissors effect going.
Yeah,
It's
very much.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're cards like the ninjas that can only be countered by executioners and minstrels. So there are cards in there to balance, like to keep ninjas from always winning, but they aren't so prevalent, those defensive cards. So that also means that the game does move and it will end. It doesn't just like stagnate and go on forever.
Yeah, definitely. This game, I think, with a few mistakes, could easily have gotten to that scenario, or a scenario where it's common for games to end like immediately.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's generally that is avoided. I say a normal game of this normally takes about 15, maybe 20 minutes, which is what you want.
Yeah.
At most, honestly.
For a game like this, definitely.
For a game like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah. Something else like regards to the mechanics and stuff like that. It's not just how well they're balanced, but there's enough there's enough variety in mechanics that it feels like you can really combine cards in a certain way to actually build tactics and strategy and what you're doing. It's not just like,
it's not just
I'm only going to be playing one card because another card was played. It's not just attack and response kind of thing. It's like, well, I might hold this card for a bit, even though I can use it now. I might want to hold back and combine it with this card, like what's the Trader and the Highwayman is a clever way to do that. It's
or you do my favorite technique, which is peasants.
Peasants are a great one.
Peasants, because you can play, unlike all other cards in the game, you can play more than one peasant at once. So you can play as many as you collect. So there might be situations where someone like attacks you with like a soldier. And you might have a peasant in your hand that can, defend, and then you're losing only one gem instead of two. But if you hold that peasant, you might end up with 5, 6 peasants, and then suddenly, boom, you can end the game.
And I remember, I think one of our playthroughs, it happened where you used a merchant on me, and I think you ended up taking 2 or 3 of my peasants, and I was like, what a loser. And then you won the game by having like 7 peasants or something like that.
Yeah, you played 7 peasants at once. It was like, I can't defend against 7 peasants.
There are different ways you can approach situations. Yeah, you're not always just, okay, this is obviously the best card to play, I'm going to play this card. You might hold stuff, you might bluff.
Which feels, it's very clever, just...
Yeah,
very well thought out.
Another interesting example of how the strategies are built and the cards almost police themselves is how this game has no hand limit. I think we even brought it up in our playthrough. We were like, does this game have a hand limit? It doesn't. And the reason that is because there are cards in there that would probably encourage you not to hoard cards endlessly. Unless you had all the merchants. But I like that the merchant is in there, because it specifically is in there to basically remind you that if you hoard 10 cards, you might lose 5 of them in one go. Yep. And then you're at a huge disadvantage now.
Yeah.
So additions of cards like the merchant that allow you to steal cards, another really, smart idea. It keeps you from needing a hand limit.
And hoarding cards allows you then become a target for the other players involved who may have, it's...
Yeah, you have to really think about when you strike in this game.
Yeah.
And you have to hit that good balance, because you have 8, 9 gems. Suddenly everyone's going to be looking at you. Yeah. Unless you've got that perfect card in your hand, suddenly you could find yourself tapped out, no gems. Which doesn't knock you out of the game, but it's not the situation you want to be in. So yeah. I think something worth pointing out, we can sort of transition a little bit here. I don't think we're overselling that there's a really good variety of cards in this game.
Yeah.
Which adds a lot of replayability. That being said, I do kind of wish that there was a bit more information provided to you on the cards themselves. Because I like how they look, but you really have to remember what they do. Some of them are pretty straightforward. Some of them are you do have to remember what they do, and you will learn them as you keep playing it.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where unless you're constantly playing it, that stuff's gonna fade in time, and so it'd be nice to just have a little refresher when you get back to it. The game is going to be included. It's going to include a reference sheet, I think,
and that may be sufficient enough.
But still, I mean, I don't think it would hurt necessarily. Just a little icon or something to oh, okay, this does this. That being said, I do like the look of the cards. I like the art's cute. It's got a nice little style. These do a good job. I also think the cards are of a pretty good quality. So if this is what you get in the final product, I would not be disappointed with that. Okay, so one more thing I do want to talk about before we maybe wrap it up. So in the start of a game of this, you have 4 cards in hand.
Yeah.
We've also played it where you have just 2 cards in hand, and I don't know that the 4 is an improvement necessarily. It definitely makes it so that people are more likely to have fortifications right off the bat.
Right.
You know, castles or archers or whatever. Just more likely you're going to have those in your hand. I just feel like it doesn't improve the game necessarily. If anything, it makes it just last a little bit longer.
Yeah, like I said, there's obviously a reason that 4 seems to, in the designer's mind, seems to work best. But I think it just, regardless, you're starting on the same playing field. Doesn't really matter.
Well, it's negligible.
Negligible. Yeah, negligible.
I think maybe it would be. I was trying to think like maybe with like 6 players, having everyone have 4 cards at the beginning would make it so that like there's a really good diverse like spread of the cards out there in people's hands already when it starts. So maybe that just keeps people from getting bullied early on, and basically in any player count.
I just feel like this game is really.
But honestly, the sessions were about the same length, like of the ones that we played that I kept track of. So
I guess.
Yeah, and it's really easy if you could start with 2, 3, or 4, and it doesn't necessarily change that core experience all that much. You know, you could play it however you like, which is something good about games this flexible.
The game is pretty well balanced.
Yeah.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
I don't think there's too much more to say. It's not the most complicated game in the world. So final thoughts again. We're not giving a score. We're just going to give kind of our impressions of what we've played. I think this is a good version of one of these games. It doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything. If you're not a fan of games like this already, this is probably not going to change your mind too much. But it is good. So if you do like this kind of game, I think it's definitely one that you should look for when it hits Kickstarter next week. Because it will probably be something you get some mileage out of.
I really appreciate this game because even though it's not trying to be too much. There's obviously, like I said, a lot of care and thought that went into the design of this game and making sure it works really well, which I feel in the Kickstarter age has that aspect has kind of diminished a little bit, and it's more about pop and awe and how can we get the people's attention and get people to back our game. So having a game that's like I said, that wasn't necessarily worried about that, and they just had a really good foundation of good idea, a good foundation, and they took the time to really plan it and design it and make it work. I really appreciate that.
Each gem is a customly cut miniature with your name engraved on it.
I know, yeah, exactly. And it's like, not even that. It's not like there's 1,000 different types of cards and stuff like that.
Have your face printed on the merchant.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I really like that. I think it's something that's been missing from game designs in the last year or two.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't really have much to add. You guys pretty much said it all. I think it's a really good airport game. A game you can bring with you anywhere, or to a party, or anything. You know what I mean? Just so you can carry on, and then play when you have 20 or 30 minutes to kill. And for that, it's one of the best that we've played in that in that range.
I mean, these kind of games aren't always my favorite kind of games.
No,
and I don't dislike them by any means, but I tend to like Euro style games, big strategy games. So like I said, but. That's why I said I think I really appreciate this game, is because even though it's not that kind of game, it still is. I can tell there was, thought put into it.
Someone is like, "Hey, you want to play up Knights and Ninjas?" Like,
sure, exactly, yeah. It's
Yep.
Thank you for watching this review of Knights and Ninjas. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, share if you want, and click that notification bell. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Those are all linked to below if you want to do that. And you can come back Friday, a couple days from now. It's probably on the site already if you are watching this in the future. When we'll be we'll be going on an adventure.
Yes.
Which should be fun. We're adventurous guys.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah.
We party.
We get around, yeah.
All right. Well, until then, thank you for watching, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you next time.